Hi friends, this is Manish Pandey. Welcome back. Today we are going to learn about Invoke Code Activity. In UiPath, there is activity given by UiPath to use the VB.NET code or C#.NET code in your UiPath project. So we'll learn how to write VB.NET code in UiPath and how to pass arguments in Invoke Code Activity. You can see here the screenshot in which there is an option that is edit arguments and there is a edit code. So in the edit arguments we can pass our arguments. It means we can pass our input from outside the invoke code to inside the invoke code activity. Okay, it means we can pass the value from the we can take the value from the user and pass to the invoke code, right? Or we can take value from the any variable and take that variable and use that variable inside the invoke code activity using edit arguments. So let's see what we are going to learn today. How to use invoke code activity in UiPath, how to write VB.NET code in UiPath, how to pass arguments in invoke code, and invoke code activity VB.NET examples. So we'll see few examples of VB.NET in invoke code activity. Like first example, we'll see hello world as a first example. Second, sum of two values using invoke code. Third, find leap year using VB.NET in invoke code. Find gender of person, pass arguments to invoke code to multiply of two values. So we'll see how to pass the arguments to invoke code and what is the use of that. So let me open the UiPath Studio so that I can show you practically all this thing. So here I'm going to take one flowchart here, drag and drop this, and let me change the name invoke code activity. Okay, so our first example is we are going to see the hello world first example. So for that, if you are going to use the VB.NET code or C#.NET code in UiPath, then we need to use invoke code activity. So invoke code means you can see here we are going to invoke the code like any programming code. So we have the two options, VB.NET and C#. So let me take here the VB.NET, the invoke code activity, and once you click on this invoke code activity, double click, we are getting two options, edit code and edit arguments. So to write the code in the invoke code activity, you have to click on the edit code, because without clicking on this you cannot type anything here. Let's say you clicked here and you are going to type anything from the keyboard, then it's not possible. So to write any code inside the invoke code activity, you have to click on edit code. Then it will show you here the VB.NET code. This is the code editor, and the language you have selected, it will show here VB.NET code. So it means we have selected VB.NET from the language, and you can see here it shows the number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, so this is the line of code. So it will show you, it will help you to show the error on which line, like line 1, line 10, line 8, like that. So if you are getting any error, so it will show you that you are getting error on line 5. And you can go to the properties and you can see here we have the three options in the input: arguments, code, and language. Arguments that we can pass here, we can create an argument, we can pass the value, and you can use that argument in the invoke code activity. Okay, and the second input, that is code, it means we can write the code after clicking on this, and we can write here. Third, that is language. So we are going to send the input to the UiPath that this is our input, we are going to use the VB.NET language, or we are going to use the C# language. Okay, so based on the selection, your invoke code activity will work. Because if you select here VB.NET and you are going to write here C#.NET code, then that will not work. So earlier it was not there, the language option was not there, you can just write VB.NET code, but now in the 2019 version we have the option to select the language VB.NET or C#, and you can write. Okay, so today we'll learn VB.NET code, and in the next video we will learn the C# code also, how to write C# code. Okay, so first we'll select VB.NET from the language, from the properties of input. Now we need to click on the edit code. So the arguments part we will learn later. First I am going to show you how to write the VB.NET code inside this invoke code activity. So first let's take one example, hello world. So you know that we need to show that string, that message. So for that we have option console dot write line, open bracket, close bracket, double quotation, and we can write here hello world. This is my first example. Okay, and let's press OK and save this, and let's run this, control F5, and you can see here in the output it is showing hello world, this is my first example. So console.writeLine, it means this is the output section, is the console, and we are just writing this line hello world, this is my first example. So you can see here, now click on edit code, and now you can see here, you know that how to write the VB.NET code. So you are thinking that we are not importing the namespace, like in the VB.NET code. To work with the VB.NET code we need to use the namespace, like import system, import system.data, import, so any of namespace. If you are going to work on that, then we need to import that namespace. Okay, but here in the code editor, in the invoke code, no need to write any import namespace code. You can directly write your code here without importing anything. So you can see here we have an option here, imports. So using this we are already importing all the required namespaces. So you can see here imported namespace. So we have the system. If it is not there, it means you are not able to use this console.writeLine, because the console is a part of system. You will have seen that system.console.writeLine. You can also write this. So console.writeLine is a part of system class, system namespace. Okay, so that's why we need to import the namespace system from here. So if you are working with the UiPath, so this has already been imported here, and if there is anything which is not imported, then you have to go and write that namespace here, like let's say import system.data. So you can write here system.data. Okay, so it shows that system.data is already there, I believe. Let's check here, system.data. So if it is not there, you can write here, and or let's say you are going to import system.data.sql. So you can just write and select that. So you can see here this has been imported here in the imported namespaces list. Okay. So by that way you can import the namespace here, and in the invoke code activity you can just write your actual code. Now the second example is the sum of two values. So you can edit the code, and let me comment this code. So for that you have to, in the VB.NET you have to just write this apostrophe, and now this is commented, and we can write another code from here, second line, or you can delete this line also. So now we need to write here the code of sum of two values. So for that we need two variable a, b, and the last, that is result, or you can say sum. So we need three variables. So for that, you know how to declare a variable. So in the VB.NET we have the dim. So dim a as integer. Okay, so you have to write like this, then dim b as integer. So you know that either you can write here separate dim a as integer, dim b as integer, or you can directly write here separated by comma. And third is sum. Now this is not required because we have declared all these three variable as an integer here. Now we need to write here sum equal to a plus b. Okay, and also we need value to sum. So we'll write here a equal to 10, b equal to 5, and then we will write here console dot write line sum of two values are plus, you know that if you are going to write just sum with a string, we need to write like this, and then press OK and save this. Currently you can see we are getting an error, that is double, string to double. Option strict on disallows implicit conversion from a string to double. Okay, let me write here system dot to sum to string. Now save this and control F5 and go to the output, and you can see here it shows sum of two values are 15. It means we have the data a equal to 10, b equal to 5, so sum equal to 15. Okay, so by this way you can write the VB.NET code in the invoke code activity. So this is like, I am going to show you the basic example so that you can understand how can you write the VB.NET code in UiPath, so that next time if you are going to use a big code, if you are going to write the lengthy code in the invoke code, then you will able to write that code. Let's say if you are going to copy the any code from the internet and you are going to just paste that somewhere, or you are going to use the same code in the invoke code, then you should have first idea how to write that code. That's why I came with this video, and there are few examples I am going to show you here. So now the third example I am going to show, that is with the use of if statement, if condition, we are going to use the example of find leap year. Okay, so again we can comment this. So in the VB.NET we can comment with the help of single apostrophe. And now the third example we are going to use, that is find leap year. So first we need a input as a year, so we'll write here dim year as integer, and then we need to pass the value. So year equal to 2016, let's say we are passing here 16, and now we need to put the condition here. So if year mode 4 equal to 0, then we will show a message box. This time we are going to show a message box, and we'll say this is, if the year we are passing is like mode 4 equal to 0, then we'll show the message box this is a leap year. And the syntax of if is, in the else part we'll say this is not a leap year, and at the end we need to write here and if. So this is our syntax. If year mode 4 equal to 0, then we need to write here then message box this is a leap year, else this is not a leap year, and we need to write the and if to close this if. Now press OK and press Ctrl F5. So this is a leap year, you can see the message. And let's say if we are passing here 11, save this and Ctrl F5. So this time this is not a leap year. Okay, now let me take one more example of find gender. So we'll write here dim gender as, this time we are going to take a variable string, gender equal to male if gender equal to male, then again this time we'll show a message box, and here we'll say you are male, and in the else part we'll say you are female, and then one and if. Okay, now press OK, and once we'll execute this, we'll get a message that is male, you are a male, because we have written a condition to check, because our value is gender equal to male, and also we are checking if gender equal to male, then you are male, otherwise you are female. Okay, so by this way you can write your VB.NET code inside the Invoke Code Activity. Now the last and the important, that is arguments. So how can we pass the arguments inside this Invoke code? Okay, so let's say we are trying with the same examples. Okay, so first we'll start with this example, and we'll take one value. So instead of this we are going to take one variable, that is first example, and press OK, and in the edit arguments we need to write that variable, that first example. And basically you can see here we have the direction we are going to use inside this or outside also, so we can select this, and which type of value you are going to pass. So we are going to pass this time a string, and what value you are going to pass. So value is in the double quotation hello world, this is my first example, and press OK. So this time you can see here in the arguments the arguments name is first example, Okay, and the value we are passing this, and the same first example we are using here. So what will happen, it will take the arguments value from the this arguments, and in this argument we have the value like hello world. So let me run this, control F5, and you will get same message here in the console, in the output, hello world. This is my first example, because we are passing the arguments here and we are passing the value in the arguments. And let's say if we have the value here in the assign activity, and let me take one variable, control K, first example, and the value we are going to pass, that is, this is my first example. And now this time we need to take the value from outside the invoke code activity. So for that we'll click on edit arguments, and currently we are just passing the hard coded value, and now we'll pass the variable, because in the variable, first example variable, we have the value. Okay, because you can see here we have the variable name first example, and in which we are passing the value. And now let me run this, and you can see the output here same as this. Let me comment this, and now we need to pass the value of AB. So for that, let me remove this, because we are not going to pass the hard coded value. So we need to take A and B. So we'll take here A, and this will be integer, and the value we are going to pass 10, B integer, and the value we can pass directly 20, and press OK. Save this, and now you can use here A plus B sum.toString. Okay, so it shows B3, this is already declared a parameter of this method, and B is already declared. So we can remove this, because we already have declared in the arguments. Now save this. You can see here we have declared A as an integer, B as an integer, so there is no need to declare this A, B in the dim here. Now save this, and this time we'll have the output of 20 or like 30. Save this and run this, and you can see the output, sum of two values are 30. So by that way you can pass the arguments to the invoke code activity. Let's say you are going to multiply, our last example, that is multiply. So we need to multiply with the A multiply B, and this time we can say dim multiply okay. Now press OK, and now you will get the output, that is 200. You can see the output, the multiply of two values are 200. So I hope you are able to understand how to pass the arguments and how can we pass the data inside the invoke code activity of the arguments. Also make sure whenever you are going to write the code of VB.NET code, then you can select language VB.NET, or if you are changing the VB.NET to C#, and if you are writing here the VB.NET code, then that will show an error. You can see here there are multiple errors. too many characters in character literal, line 0, 6, 7, 12, 13. And also you can see in the code there are lots of error, because in the C# code we do not write this as a comment, we do not declare the variable like this, we do not write the code like this. So that's why you always make sure that if you are writing the code of the VB.NET, then there should be option written here VB.NET code, and if you are writing C# code, then it will show you here C# code, then you can write here C# code. Okay, now in the next video we'll learn how to write C# code in UiPath and how to pass the arguments. So we'll take few examples in the C# code examples, and then I will show you. Thank you so much friends, thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe this channel if you have not subscribed, and please press the like button. If you have any question, please send me a mail on uipathR@gmail.com, or you can write your suggestion comments in the video comment. Thank you.